Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a classic David versus, well, two Goliath story. It's about how one store, caught right in the middle of the world's biggest price cutter and the world's fastest shipper, somehow managed to not just survive, but totally thrive.
You know, for decades, if you wanted to compete in retail, there were really only two games you could play, each perfected by a different titan of the industry.
On one hand, you've got Walmart. Their promise is simple: the absolute lowest price on pretty much everything. And on the other hand, there's Amazon, the master of getting stuff to your door at lightning speed, sometimes in just a few hours. So that leads to a really interesting question. If you're squeezed between those two massive forces, how on earth does a company like Target manage to build its own empire? To really get what Target did, you have to understand the battlefield. For almost any other retailer, it was a brutal choice: either join the race to the bottom on price or get into a logistics arms race on speed. And honestly, they were losing on both fronts. Yeah, most retailers felt like they had to pick a lane, price or speed. But that's a game that is almost impossible to win when you're up against the two companies that literally wrote the rules. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of trying to play a game they were basically guaranteed to lose, Target just changed the rules. They decided they weren't going to compete on price and they weren't going to compete on speed. They were going to compete on something else entirely. Their truly brilliant move was to create this whole new category, the upscale discounter. It meant they could still offer the affordable prices people wanted, but they wrapped it in a package of style, quality, and trendiness that the other guys just didn't have. And make no mistake, this was 100% intentional. As retail historian Nancy Cohn points out, Target deliberately said, "We're not playing the cost game." They had no interest in being a Walmart clone. This cheap chic strategy was really built on three key pillars. First, create their own awesome brands that you couldn't get anywhere else. Second, team up with famous designers for limited edition collections that people would go crazy for. And third, make the act of just walking into their store a genuinely pleasant experience. And did it work? Oh yeah, big time. Their own brands like Good & Gather for food or Threshold for home decor weren't just seen as cheap knockoffs. They were stylish. People actually wanted them. So much so that in just one quarter in 2021, they grabbed $1 billion in market share from those private brands alone. $1 billion. And hey, if you're a numbers person, this slide shows you the financial genius behind it all. By focusing on style and unique products, Target makes way more profit on each item they sell than Walmart does. It's not just about selling a lot of stuff cheaply. It's about making more money on every single sale. But it wasn't just about the products. Target became obsessed with the feeling of shopping there. I mean, think about this. They don't call you a customer, they call you a guest. It sounds like a small thing, but that little word change signals a huge difference in how they see the whole experience. And you can really see that guest focus in how their loyalty program grew over time. It started as a pretty simple coupon app called Cartwheel, then it evolved into Target Circle with more perks, and now it even includes a paid membership for same-day delivery, which is, a direct shot at Amazon Prime. They also went all in on making shopping ridiculously convenient. And this was the killer move. They turned their own physical stores into mini distribution centers. They used them for everything from curbside pickup to shipping orders directly to your house. It was this amazing blend of digital and physical that made their promise of being the easiest place to shop actually feel true. But Target's innovation wasn't just happening inside their stores. They were also one of the first to take retail to some completely unexpected places. I mean, we all know what a pop-up shop is now, right? Well, Target was experimenting with this idea way back in the early 2000s, long before it became this global trend. They were really ahead of the curve. And their first experiment was just wild. For Black Friday, they opened a temporary store that was literally floating on a boat on the Hudson River. Can you imagine? It was clever, it was weird, and it got everyone talking. That kind of creativity really sparked a revolution in marketing. It inspired all these other brands to get weird, like Adidas creating a pop-up shop that was a perfect replica of one of its iconic blue shoeboxes. And the trend went all the way to the top. Even super high-end luxury brands like Hermes got in on it, opening a silk bar for their famous scarves inside a bright orange shipping container in Hong Kong. Okay, so after all that success, you'd think they'd be set, right? Well, the retail wars are never really over.
And now, Target is facing a whole new set of challenges in a world that's changing faster than ever. Because in the world of retail, the minute you stand still, you start falling behind.
And trust me, Target's journey has had some serious turbulence. They've had to deal with a massive data breach that really shook customer trust, the relentless pressure from Amazon and Walmart, total chaos in the supply chain, and even getting tangled up in divisive cultural boycotts that absolutely hit their sales numbers.
And yet, and this is really the key takeaway here, even with all of those headwinds, Target's core strategy is still incredibly effective. Their focus on creating unique, stylish products still allows them to be way more profitable than their biggest rival. The proof is right there in the margins. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one huge question. As the giants of retail get even bigger and even faster, is there still a place for cheap chic? Target is betting the whole company that for millions of us, a great experience and a sense of style still matter more than just the lowest price or the quickest delivery. The big question is, are they right?